All right, Dr. Brett Spradlin here, Divine Design Natural Health, Cleveland, Tennessee. And is anybody here ready to learn?
Yes.
Yay. This one's one that we have been trying to do for about 4 months. And the powers that be, whether it was technical difficulties or the weather gods or whatever, have frowned upon us. And now here we are. So could it be that this message doesn't want to get out? It could be. It's been, for 12 years I've been in practice. This is the longest I've gone without teaching. It's been 5 months. Last time I taught was September. And then we had a movie night, I think in October, and then we had technical difficulties in November, and then we had, and then we had a Q&A. And so this is the longest time. So I feel like I'm getting back into the saddle. Jonathan, are you ready?
Ready.
Yes. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. Medical Mythbusters. Let's do this. What we will cover tonight. Hello. We're going to cover our catalyzing statement and biblical health manifesto. If you haven't seen that, even if you have, you'll need to review it. Why no one talks about the flaming dumpster fire called modern American medicine. Your relatives, your friends, your family, everybody next to you sitting on both sides at church, in front, behind, north, south, east, west, above and below, the balcony and the basement, every one of them is getting murdered by modern American healthcare. That's it. 10 questions an honest person must ask. If you are observant, if you have breath in your lungs, you have to look around in society and you have to ask these 10 questions. If you don't, you're going to be a statistic. A barrage of medical myths and their subsequent truths. Some of these you're going to have heard dozens of times. Your friends and family are already hearing them, guaranteed. So a bunch of myths. And what happens when you fall for these myths. So tonight's outline is a little shorter, but you're going to love it, I think. Let's go. Let's go to in the sacred service of saving lives ahead of time, we are fearlessly freeing billions of beings through all natural biblical healthcare. What does that mean? Light, water, heat, plants, animals, my hands, electricity. That's it. That's all we use. We don't need to run diagnostics. We don't need to do your blood tests. We don't need to do MRIs, CAT scans. We don't need to do x-rays. Just simplicity. Human physiology has never changed. Despite what the atheists with snakes on their name tags have told you, you don't have a genetic problem, you don't have a chemical imbalance, you don't have a hormonal imbalance, you don't have an allergy, you don't have arthritis, you don't have an autoimmune condition. But is it easy to get people to believe that? Yeah. No, it's not. It's very difficult. Very difficult to get people to believe that they don't have any of those diseases. Very difficult. But it's all natural biblical health, and in relation to that, it's Biblical Health Manifesto. Now, I know. How can you say you are doing biblical health? How can you say you're a doctor, and how can you say you're Christian? How can you do healthcare? Because science and God are completely unrelated. Oh, I beg to differ. Because here, our Biblical Health Manifesto, this is what we do. This is what we tell people. This is what you're going to get when you come here, and this is what you're not going to get. Very simple. Can you blow that up a little bit? Or no? No, that's in the PowerPoint, isn't it? Oh, there we go. We may not be what you're looking for, but we're exactly what you need. We will not inject you with anything. Now, this is very inflammatory to people, and we mean it so, because they think they need injections, they think they need tests, they think they need diagnostics and procedures. But what if somebody came at them and told them, you don't need all that, and we're going to save you money, and we're going to save you from having to get surgeries and getting your organs ripped out? Do you think they would go for that? You'd think they would. But as we just discussed, is it difficult to get people to believe that? It's very difficult. So here's the thing. Here's what we have to go against. Here's what people are used to. Not popular, but hey, what we're doing, we're not here to be popular. So we will not inject you with anything. We will not renew your prescriptions. We will not check your thyroid levels, women. We will not sign your exemption letters. We will not do any type of genetic testing. And with AI rolling out with a cheek swab, and within 24 hours, they can design an AI mRNA vaccine individually for you, we ain't doing that. No, we're not. We're not doing genetic testing. We will not do anything harmful to your body. Are injections good for your body or bad for your body? Bad for your body. Hard to get people to believe that. Hard to get people to believe that. We will not recommend yet another blood panel. We will not communicate with your medical doctors. We will not review your previous incorrect diagnosis. We won't recommend anything contrary to the book. We will not consult the internet for answers to your problems like you have and like your medical doctors have. We will not ask permission from your insurance company or your specialist. We're not going to send you back to the same snake-worshiping demons who caused your problems. We will not subject you to displays of ancient pagan idols, as is common in many natural health practices. See, this is inflammatory because this is what people are looking for, right? They love this stuff. They want statues of Buddha and Shiva. They want the little half man, half elephant in the yoga room. That's not what we do here. We're not doing Ganesh, bro. We're not doing it. We will not document your conditions with government or insurance entities, and we will not give you synthetic supplements to offset the effects of your synthetic drugs. This one people forget. We're not going to document your conditions because when you get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, who else knows you have fibromyalgia? The entire world, right? Well, I should say not here, but in a medical office. You get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, you get diagnosed with migraine headaches. That diagnosis follows you for how long? Forever. It's in your medical record for AI to comb and scrape and for other entities to harvest off of the servers in your medical doctor's office. That stuff is there forever. You'll be advertised to for thyroid conditions for the rest of your life. In your email inbox will be crap because your stuff with the government and your insurance entities will always be hacked, will always be on the dark web. That entire list of diseases that you have will follow you forever. We don't do that. So another reason why we don't take your insurance, that's another reason. And so we will not give you synthetic supplement. Why? Because we don't need to. What if real natural healthcare didn't require any of the crap that you thought, any of the stuff up here, any of that crap? And what if everything you think you need is incorrect from the very beginning? What if you got diagnosed with a syndrome and you don't have a syndrome? Strange. Strange, right? Or what if you got diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, but you don't have an autoimmune? Or what if, like our friends in the medical field, what if you got diagnosed with cancer, but you didn't really have the cancer? Strange. Happens every day. What if your doctor actually read the manual on how the human body was created and then practiced accordingly? Well, I'll tell you. Here's what happens. About 90% of our patients get 50 to 90% improvement across every symptom they come in here with in about 90 days. Saving lives ahead of time. What do you think about that? I love it. So moving on, that's our Biblical Health Manifesto. That has done more to keep people in here and to keep people out of here than I think anything else. It's beautiful. It saved us a lot of work. Next. Medicine's a slow motion catastrophe, but nobody wants to talk about it. Why? Why is this? Has anybody in this room had conversations with relatives and it just falls on deaf ears? Nobody wants to talk about it. Even though they're medical doctors. They've been going to the same medical doctors for 20 years. They still have the same problems. They're still on the same drugs. And you try to say something different, and they look at you like you just crawled off a spaceship, right? Nobody's talking about it. Why? I'm going to tell you right here. Medicine is a slow motion catastrophe. Nobody talks about it. Why? There's a lot of reasons. Let's get into some. Number one, their daughters are nurses. Their sons are pharmacists. The largest employers are hospitals and governments. Hold right there for a second, John, and let me talk about the government. So the largest employers in every county, almost every county in this United States, it's either the government or it's the hospitals. Speaking of the government, in the last few months, since the last I talked, has anyone discovered what type of people their government is full of? Satanic, cannibalistic pedophiles drinking the blood of children. Right or right? Yes. So if the government's full of those people, who do you think runs the hospitals? Think about it. So the largest employers are hospitals and governments. So what does that mean? Next, the pastors don't want to talk about it because they'd alienate their prize tithers. You see where I'm going with this? And on top of all that, on top of all of this, you've got 150 years of these snake worshipers in a medical monopoly resulting in a population control, and now it's gotten so bad that there's an entire political movement called Make America Healthy Again because everybody's retarded and doesn't know where to piss. So the food is screwed. Oh, and we haven't even talked. So much has happened in 5 months. Oh, they flipped the food pyramid. I don't know if you noticed. After 50 years of it being jacked up, right? They're like, whoopsie, we messed up. Here's the real food pyramid. It's the exact opposite. Everything is the exact opposite of everything that they've said since the 80s with the food pyramid. The government, who told you that? The government told you this. It's unbelievable. So 150 years of these guys, And nobody knows, everybody's so confused, and there's all these people, the old people all have Alzheimer's, the young people all have ADD and autism, and everybody in between is hooked on painkillers and psych meds. It's unbelievable. It's a slow motion catastrophe. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. It's unbelievable. But you'll see the Patriot people on YouTube and Rumble, and they're talking about natural health and stuff and getting people out of the medical system, and then they've got pharmaceutical ads during their commercial breaks. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But here's the kicker. I love this. This is the best part. Because due to the economies of scale, it is now easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control 1 million people. Isn't that great? You can kill them. Kill them easy. How? You spray them. You poison them. You indoctrinate, medicate, vaccinate, fluoridate, blah, 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 da, da, da. I've said it 1 million times. It's been 12 years. We've been doing this for 12 years. Nothing has ever, human physiology has yet to change. I have not witnessed micro or macro evolution in 12 years. It's unbelievable. Let's keep going. Why does nobody talk about it? Because many people in the medical field or the pharma field or the insurance field, they're often paid too much to bother noticing. Ask some of your people who sell insurance, what's happened to the life expectancy in the last 6 years? Ask your embalmers, ask your friends who are funeral home directors, ask them what they've been seeing in society. Next, ask your drug rep friends, ask them. Go ahead. Government lied from start to finish. Everything they told you was wrong. All the masks, all the tests, all the lockdowns, all the shots. Did anybody go to jail? Nope. Whoopsie. We messed up. Whoops. In the last 5 years, we experienced, this blows my mind. We experienced, come on in. Y'all need to hear this one. This is a good one. Come on in. So in the last 5 years, I tell people this statistic and they don't understand it. In the last 5 years, so I'm saying since 2020, right, we experienced 10 times the casualties of the world's deadliest conflict in human history. World War II, about 70 to 90, best estimates, million casualties. In the last 5 years, best estimates are between worldwide 500 to 900, either killed, maimed, disabled, or completely messed up by the shots. 500 to 900 million in the last 5 years from the shots. So if you take the 70 or 80 or 90 million, just say 100 million for the World War II, and you extrapolate that over to 500 to 900 million, let's just say, actually, let's go down. Let's say 50 million for World War II. World War II, 50 million. 500 to 900 million, the low end of that is 500 million. Deaths, disablings, and adverse events from the shots. You had World War II, 50 to 75 million. You had the last 5 years, 500 to 900 million. You had 10 times the casualties of the world's deadliest conflict in human history, World War II. That's everything, World War II. That's from World War II, let's say that's from Pearl Harbor, that's all the Russians, that's all the Germans, that's all of Europe, that's all the Americans, that's Iwo Jima, that's the Pacific Islands, all of the stuff, that's the atom bomb, the two things, the carpet bombs, we won't call them atom bombs, it's fake, but the carpet bombs across Nagasaki and Hiroshima, all of that combined over the course of how many years? About, 10 years? All of that is paled in comparison to what happened in the last 5 years. However, next please, it's not on daily television, so hardly anyone really knows it's going on. Nobody knows it's happening because it's not on TV, because the pharmaceutical companies own your television. So this is what I have to fight every day because people have no idea this is going on. It's nuts. It's crazy. Indoctrinated, medicated, vaccinated, fluoridated, glyphosated. Okay, yeah. Oh, speaking of glyphosate, they're saying that Roundup is good for you now. Isn't that great? You have all of the ologists, and you're sicker than ever. You have the oncologist, the cardiologist, the dermatologist, all the ologists, and you're sicker than ever. And if they could actually fix anything over the last 150 years, I think they might have done it by now, because they'd be screaming from the rooftops that they have a cure, but they don't. Next. Military-grade mind control is widespread via algorithms and evening news. So it used to just be the TV. Now it's not the TV. It's the phone that people have in their pocket because they're being programmed by an algorithm created by Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos. So it's even more dangerous. It's beautiful. But the military-grade mind control, you'll hear me talking about that quite a bit. And military-grade mind control, think of the government and the CIA controlling your brain through your phone and your TV. That's what I mean. After 5 years of censorship, YouTube reinstated our channel. Remember, what are we talking about? Why is no one talking about this? Well, because they censored people like us that were right, that were right, that were right, that were right. For 12 years, we've been right. We were only on YouTube. We had 200 viewers, 200 subscribers, but they pulled us so nobody could hear us 5 years ago. So with 5 years of censorship, YouTube reinstated our channel. They are removing, now that they've reinstated our channel, and we've been preaching like our pants are on fire because we know it could go away at any moment, they remove our video views daily. Thousands of video views will disappear every day. It's crazy. Next. Speaking of YouTube, here it is. In May of 2021, we got this. I'll read it for the nosebleed section. Here we go. We've reviewed your content and found severe or repeated violations of our community guidelines. Because of this, we've removed your channel from YouTube. We know this is probably very upsetting news, but it's I'm glad you love this. But it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all. If we think a channel severely violates our policies, we take it down to protect other users on the platform. But if you believe we made the wrong call, you can appeal. You'll find more information about the policy in question and how to submit an appeal below. So how this affects your channel. I love this. This was May 2021, remember? When everybody was getting booted off YouTube. We've permanently removed your channel from YouTube. Going forward, you won't even be able to access, possess, or create any other YouTube channels. So gone, May of 2021. What we were saying was right. Every single thing that we were saying was right. So how many people didn't hear us? Who knows? How many people died? How many people got wrecked? How many people got whacked? How many people got wrecked? How many people got destroyed? How many people's families got murdered? But it's not just us. I mean, we only had 200 people watching us. However, censored May 2021. Watch what they say in October of 2025. Account restored. Look at this. Remember, we've had severe and repeated violations of the community guidelines. Now watch. Everything changes. We're pleased to let you know that we've recently reviewed your YouTube account because we applied for an appeal back here. It took them 4.5 years. These are the people you're giving your time, your attention, and your money to. Okay? These Google people who were on the island, this is who you're paying. We've recently reviewed your account, and after taking another look, we can confirm it is not in violation of our terms of service. Isn't that nice? So something changed, right? What changed? Who knows? We've lifted the suspension of your account, and it's once again active and operational. They pushed a button, everything came back. Everything was right there. It was all, you just couldn't see it. It was right there on YouTube for 5 years. We'd like to thank you for your patience while we reviewed the case. Our goal is to make sure content doesn't violate our community guidelines. I didn't change a thing. I've been saying the same stuff for 5 years. They shut me down here, they brought me back here, but somehow something changed. It must have been me. Who knows? So that YouTube can be a safe place for all. Notice they say that in both places. Isn't that nice? It's all about your safety. Where have you heard that before? And sometimes we make mistakes trying to get it right. We hope you understand. We're sorry. Whoopsie. You had the wrong food log, or you had the wrong food pyramid for 50 years. We told you had cancer and you didn't. Whoops. Sorry. We're sorry for the inconvenience and the frustration it's caused. Moving on. Isn't that great? 4.5 years gone. So why are people not talking about it? Censorship? Maybe they can't. There were a lot of other groups out there that people got kicked off YouTube, all kinds of stuff. Facebook, Instagram, Instascam, FBI book, you name it. Everybody got canned. And so the government just pushed through all this crap that they wanted you to get vaccinated for because they don't want to pay your Medicare. Yep, there it is. Interesting, isn't it? But it's my fault, right? Definitely my fault. Moving on. Thank you, YouTube. So 10 questions. If you're honest, you have to ask these questions. It's unbelievable. And how many people don't ask it? Why is America only getting sicker? Right? Everybody knows this? Everybody knows this. America's getting sicker. Are people healthier? The biggest three, what is it? The trending three things in all of the medical research that's come out for the last 50, 60 years, people are getting, this is a quote, people are getting sicker, people are getting fatter, and they're getting stupider. This is what the research says for the last 50 years. It's a pattern. So why is everybody getting sicker? despite all of the crap that we have everywhere? You have to ask, why has medicine never cured a single disease? I've had nurses, I've had doctors, I've had every therapist of every profession, and I ask them the same question for 12 years. Can you name a disease that has been cured? The answer is no. Next, why are medical doctors only allowed to cut or drug patients? That's for all the people out there who say, well, I went to a medical doctor and he just wants to give me drugs. Number 4, why is health so elusive despite all of the available procedures and diagnostic tests? People have to ask this. Your aunts and your uncles are getting tubes up their butt and down their throat, and they don't know why. And then we've got all the stuff, but they get sicker, right? Number 5, why do pharma companies own the media? If you haven't noticed this, if your friends and family haven't noticed this, man, we're 6 years into this. If they haven't noticed it yet, I don't know. There might not be a chance. Number 6, why is your healthcare determined by insurance companies? That's kind of related to number 3, but we won't go there. Number 7, why do you pay for cough syrup but get free vaccines? Number 8, why do the FDA and AMA harass anyone who actually heals while promoting dangerous drugs and procedures? Are you getting a pattern here? Do you think they want you alive or want you dead? It's a population game. That's what it is. Why are heart disease, cancer, diabetes, autism, all these things I mentioned earlier continuing unabated despite research organizations promising cures every time you check out at the checkout line, at the cashier, American Heart Association, American Cancer Society, American Alzheimer's Fund, whatever it is. You got a lot of research organizations, you got a whole lot of nothing going on. Where's all that money going? Yes, good question, I'm glad you asked. Number 10, what would healthcare look like if God was actually invited and involved? Wouldn't that be nice? Excellent. Moving on. So those 10 questions, think about those through all of these. When you have talks with your friends and family, you know I do these classes not to just spout on. I do these classes to give you guys critical thinking nuggets so that you can talk to your friends and your family and your people at church who are being murdered. That's why we do these. Hope you all knew. Did you know that? You knew that. Okay, next. Myth. We're going to go through a bunch of these, but I just want you to see how stupid these things are. Myth, you need to avoid salt, sun, red meat, eggs, cholesterol, and especially raw milk. Especially. Now, this is kind of prophetic. Weird, right, Jonathan? But this is kind of prophetic that I wrote this back in September, and here we are in February, and we just had a little hiccup with our raw milk distribution system, but it's coming back. But it's just interesting because it's always, despite the fact that some of these people who got sick, there were no links to any, well, I'll just say this. I'll just say, people got sick from, it was obviously raw milk, but, you know, we were getting dosed with chemtrails, we were getting sprayed with all kinds of crap, we had snow that wouldn't melt, remember that? Then we had, what else? And then never mind the fact that people are indoctrinated, medicated, vaccinated, fluoridated, they're eating crap food, all these kids, the kids who got sick, I'm sure they were eating healthy. But regardless, it's the raw milk. That was the problem. But the fact of the matter is, salt was the first nutritional supplement in the history of the world. Wars were fought over it. Don't forget about that. Sun is necessary to all life. That's why they want to block it out. Red meat kept people alive and vibrant for centuries. That's why the devil has tried to make everyone vegetarians and vegans, and he's continuing to do that. Eggs are the perfect nutrition. Why do you think the bird flu only attacks chickens? Isn't that great? And why do you think they only gripe about the cows farting and not the moose, the caribou, the deer, the buffalo? It's only the cows. And the bird flu only hits chickens. What are the 2 biggest things humans eat? There it is. There it is. Every cell in your body is made of cholesterol, so I'm just demolishing every one of these, just with a sentence. Just with a sentence, right? All your dermatologists hate this. They hate that. Every cell in your body is made of cholesterol. All your family practice guys think cholesterol will kill you, right? But what's happened to the human disease state ever since we created cholesterol drugs? Have we fixed heart disease? All your friends are on cholesterol drugs. They're being murdered. They're doing this. Think how messed up this is. They pay money for a poison that they take to get healthy. Unbelievable. So why don't people talk about it? No, you tell me. Raw milk was man's first food and was also the first food to be modified disastrously by a lovely Freemason Illuminati Jesuit named Louis Pasteur. Isn't that great? Medicine has demonized the very things that keep us healthy while making us unapologetically sicker. Why don't people talk about this? Well, I don't know. They don't want to piss anybody off. But I don't care. I really don't care. I mean, this is ridiculous. Maybe that's why we just have to preach this. I don't care about people. I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm here to change the world. Not many people who want to change the world are out to be popular. This right here, that would change your friends and your family's life if your grandpa and your grandma and your aunts and your uncles weren't afraid of salt. Afraid. It's on the table at the diner where they're buying their home run omelet plate, right? But if they would only eat some salt, it would change so many things. Red meat. You have to argue with people about red meat all the time. Why? Because the media demonizes it because they want you to eat what? Crickets. They want you to eat roaches. They want you to eat mealworms, right? Unbelievable. Raw milk, I won't even go there. Next. And that's, if you could just fix that one thing right there, that slide with your friends and family, it would change their lives. Change their lives. The number of people I have to deal with that think they have a milk allergy. Their kids have a milk allergy. They don't have a milk allergy. It's just that they can't drink pasteurized milk. It's foreign to their bodies. That's the simplicity of it. Myth, you can separate your vaccines and take things at your own pace. How many times have you heard this one? Fact, pediatric offices promote open schedules. This is step one. They tell you, hey, we're open. We'll take you. Listen, your friends and your families, this is your sisters, this is your nephews we're talking about right here, man. So the pediatric offices throw open the doors. Then what happens? You get in to reserve a pediatrician for your newborn. Then what happens? 6 months later, they kick you out for not poisoning your child on schedule. Then what happens? Then they come here and they complain to me. And I tell them this is how it operates. Open enrollment at the pediatrics office, which you don't need. Then you go in, then you get your pediatrician, you think, oh, finally, I have an atheist who can weigh and poison my child. 6 months later, they kick you out because you're not taking the vaccines fast enough. Because the only way the pediatricians make money is what? Vaccines. If you're concerned about 6 vaccines at once, you already have this thing called women's intuition, right? You already have, you intrinsically suspect that something is amiss about the vaccine schedule. So what do? You say, I want to hold off. I don't want to go as fast. What does that mean? That means this. Spreading them out simply allows you to still tell your friends that your kids are properly poisoned. You don't want to upset the apple cart. This is social peer pressure disguised as hesitant wisdom. You think you're being smart, but really you're admitting that you're being tricked. Just by saying, I'd rather go slow. Something just doesn't feel right about all these poisons and ground up baby parts in my vaccines for my child. That's what, I know, tough pill to swallow. Next. But that's what people are doing. Myth, don't be alarmed by initial reports. Look at the other purposes for the drug. You're hearing this one right now. Where? Ozempic. What's happening? People are dying. What do? What does the media do? Owned by the pharmaceutical companies? They spin it and they go, look at all the things that Ozempic is good for. It's an anti-cancer therapy. It's happening right now. Right now it's happening. So fact, here it is. People begin to suspect the toxic drug has too many adverse effects. And articles immediately appear claiming the drug has newly discovered uses. A weight loss drug can help prevent hair loss. People then say, well, maybe this drug really is all right. Look at what else it's good for. It actually reduces sausage fingers. And with this clever trick, the magician's trick, doctors get patients to stay in the system. They will say stuff like, your cancer after the surgery, well, it's gone. But to make sure we can prescribe a chemo drug, of course, you know, the chemo drug has side effects. However, I have one that's very mild, which is what, we'll just go ahead and do that one. And the patient will hear the doctor looking out for them. But the doctor just played a little neuro-linguistic programming trick, a little medical grade mind control trick on that patient. And what that patient didn't hear was you're going to be on that for the rest of your life. And all the patient heard was the doctor wants me to go on a less poisonous chemo drug. So now I love my abuser. It's Munchausen. Stockholm syndrome right there. That's what that is. You just turned a switch in your brain. He just did that. That's what he does. That's what they do. That's how they're taught to talk to people. This right here, it's right out of their textbooks. That's what that is. That's a trick. That is a clever trick. And that's what your friends and family members are falling for because they think your doctor's going to bat for them because he doesn't want to put you on a really, really, really poisonous red devil chemotherapy thing. Isn't that great? These are the snake-worshiping white coats that people still run back to after they tried to kill them 6 years ago. Next. Myth, you need emergency surgery. Here's how it goes. You're going to love this one. This is an obvious emergency, says the doctor. You have one artery blocked 100% and two that are blocked 90%. We don't know how you've been walking around. Your surgery is scheduled 3 weeks out. No, obviously it's not an emergency, but that's what happens. Have you heard that? Have you heard that? Yep, all day, every day. How in the world your body routes around blockages? Your body builds new arteries. Arteriogenesis is what it's called. So the doctors aren't worried about it. They just want to make sure that they still get you on that operating table. And then once they do that, it will lead to ablation in your heart, or it will lead to a pacemaker, or it will lead to a new valve, in which case you will be on the fast track to cardiomyopathy of some sort. Watch our We Heart You class. Classes. We do one every February. So then that will lead to cardiomyopathy, and eventually you'll have what? Eventually, heart failure, heart disease, all of those things. You didn't get rid of heart disease. You just got different forms of it. Ching, ching. Isn't that a great trick? Next. Myth. And this is related. We've conquered heart disease with better diet, more testing, and less invasive procedures. This is what you'll hear all the time. It's on the covers of the magazines. Fact, as of June 10th, 2024, the American Heart Association became 100 years old. Cardiovascular disease has been the #1 killer for 100 years. Great job, American medicine. Bravo, bravissimo, bravissimo. Isn't that great? Just like the last one I showed you, you didn't get rid of your heart disease. You just went from an arrhythmia, or you went from the doctor putting his stethoscope on and going, oh, you've got a murmur, you've got a regurgitation, you've got an arrhythmia, you've got a palpitation. And then the next thing you know, you're getting an ablation, you're getting some kind of surgery, you're getting some kind of procedure, you've got a pacemaker, boom. They fry your heart with an ablation. Somebody's family member got fried. I don't know who it was, can't remember. But it was like, she was happy about, yeah, we found mom had a regurgitation or something like that, or mom had a palpitation or an arrhythmia or something like that. And I said, what happened? What'd they do? Well, they gave her an ablation. I'm like, oh, they fried a nerve in her heart? That's what that is, an ablation. They make it sound good, don't they? So you fry a nerve in your heart, what does it set you up for? Congestive heart failure. 3 to 5 years down the road, that's what you're going for. How's that sound, Heidi? You want some congestive heart failure?
No.
Okay, good. Everybody give Heidi a welcome back after 5 months.
All right, so this patient, she said, at just 15 years old, I had a lot of problems. And I mean a lot of problems, especially for my age. Major breathing issues, heart issues, weight and skin issues, and back problems. Now, after 1 year at Divine Design, I have almost no breathing problems, no heart problems, back to my normal weight for my age and height, and my acne has diminished just to scars. My back and my whole body is strong and healthy, and I haven't been sick since starting here at Divine Design. Thank you so much.
Strange. No dermatologists needed or any of that other crap, right? You guys ready for some memes? Fancy words with pictures? Let's do this. I've saved them up. Your dog isn't vegan and your child's not trans. Marcus Aurelius. I'm not explaining. Your dog's not vegan. Next. They say, what if we let the government? I say, no. Absolutely not. Next. How I used to live each day, me looking into vaccines, me researching the rest of the healthcare system, education system, and food supply. The government's been trying to kill us for a long time. Yep. In that order. Isn't that? If you look into vaccines, you'll figure it out. Next. Things your doctor will not talk about that are bad for your health. All the stuff that's causing you to be sick, all the poisons, watch. Seed oils, what do I mean by that? A lot of people misunderstand. That's all the Crisco, the canola, that's all the crap, the stuff you're not supposed to be putting in your body. EMF exposure, all the 5G towers they put up to track and trace you and your digital IDs and your central bank digital currencies. Blue light at night, you're sitting there doom scrolling with the light going into your face, sitting all day, mouth breathing. Everybody, stand up and do some demonstration. Jonathan, give us some mouth breathing. There it is. AirPods frying your brain, the electrical, the stuff that's it's wireless. You don't want that. Birth control pills. I have to tell people the birth control pills your daughter is on is controlled menopause. God, if they just, but the doctor put them on her for her skin. I know. But the doctor, bleeding is a disease. I know. They're killing her. They're wrecking her ovaries. They're wrecking her. Microplastics, that's all the stuff you're wearing in your clothes and your spandex and your nylon and your stuff, and you're breathing it in and it's getting into your skin, all the microplastics from the bottles and stuff like that. Ultra-processed foods, that's all the garbage outside of this office. That's all the garbage. If it's not on a farm, it's all the crap from Chick-fil-A and Crackdonald's and Booger Sling and all that stuff. Toxic hell. Negative thoughts. Well, I mean, read the Bible. Just read the Bible. And then sunglasses. Yeah. So all the stuff that's killing you. Well, not all the stuff. Just a small list that your doctors aren't going to mention. Next. Come on, Joseph. We got to go into town. This child needs vaccines and a social security number. Oh, yep. Next. There's no debating anymore. There's no political solution. It's good versus evil. It's a spiritual battle. There's no changing my mind. Isn't that great? Yes, sir. Next. Conspiracy theorists, after accurately predicting the past 10 years. Facial recognition, drones in our skies. Saw one the other day, as a matter of fact. Rampant censorship, digital identification, digital currencies, geoengineering, smart cities, state and media collusion. Maybe it's time to start listening. Oh, and by the way, the digital ID and the digital currency stuff, if you do not understand Bitcoin yet, you better figure it out. Because they're coming for your bank account, they're coming for your 401k, they're coming for your pension, they're coming for your retirement funds, and the only way out of the system is Bitcoin. Don't listen to the media. Jeffrey Epstein did not create Bitcoin. I have to tell people this. Next. Hey, Debbie, it's me, the Lord. Listen, you really got to stop telling the doctor your health is in my hands. You're going to have to cut out the carbs and the seed oils, okay? Well, I just bless my food, bless God. It ain't food, brother. That ain't food. Next. Get vaccinated today. Earn 20% off your next purchase. No appointments necessary. That's at a Walgreens or a Rite Aid or some crap. Isn't that great? They're telling you what they're doing. It's right in front of your face. It's right there. Next. Next. We're on the next myth. Doctors and nurses are the picture of health. We need to listen to them. That's a myth. The fact is, if you complain about energy or vitality, your doctor's going to look for anemia on a blood test, which will likely be inconclusive, but he's still going to give you a synthetically megadosed nutraceutical of iron that will absolutely screw you up. There's no concept in medicine or even discussion within traditional medicine regarding vitality or longevity. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like when you read the Bible and you get more out of what it doesn't say than what it does say sometimes. If you look at medicine and you go, what's missing? They don't talk about vitality. They don't talk about high energy. And they don't talk about living long, longevity, right? You might be drooling on yourself in a nursing home in your 30s or 40s or getting your organs harvested in your 30s. And they're like, whoopsie, sorry. So don't be surprised that hardly anyone you know experiences true vitality and real health. It's not their focus. You're never going to find it there. It's crazy. How do I know? Because that was your assistant health secretary. That is a demon-possessed man dressed like a woman under a creepy, child-molesting, sniffing president that was fake and had a mask on the entire time. I don't know, or which one was it, the 6-foot tall one or the 7-foot tall one? I'm not sure. But that was Biden selected. That's a transgender doctor. That's a dude. I think that, how is this possible? This happened years ago. This happened years ago. This was major. It's crazy. That's vitality and longevity right there. What do you think about that? I'm going to show you some stuff here in a little while that'll turn your stomach. It'll be great. It'll be a great laugh. I can't wait. Myth. Psychiatric meds are successfully addressing mental issues. A patient managed a restaurant in Florida with Prozac rolled out in the early 90s. He actually told me this. He said when it came out, I called my wait staff the Prozac queens because they all appeared to have frontal lobotomies and they achieved remarkable levels of apathy almost immediately. This was Prozac. That's one psych med that came out in the 90s. They became commonplace in the 90s, and now here we are 35 years later, and most people have a therapist. Your kids and your grandkids have therapists. Isn't that crazy? Unbelievable. Next. Myth, we just need to remove your lymph nodes. Everything's going to be fine. I hear this all the time. This is a brand new thing. They're doing this regularly now. They want to rip out your lymph nodes. Here's what happens. Rip it out. It's going to lead to swelling. You're going to have edema. You're going to have lymphedema. You're going to have all kinds of, it's going to just, why? Here's why. Remove the septic tank from behind your house and watch what happens to your backyard. Doctors, they going to tell you about this? No, because when you get the lymphedema, that means what? You're going to come right back to them. See how evil this is? These snake-worshiping demons run your hospitals. The covens of witches and warlocks and regional brides of Satan over these hospitals, once you see who runs these things, you're going to freak out. Because the tip of the iceberg, the Epstein thing is just the tip of this massive iceberg. Next, you need multiple specialists. What I say, ologists, for proper medical care. Here is a typical, here's what's happening. For 4 diseased horsemen of the medpocalypse heading for 80 to 90% of America. Here's typical America. You're going to have heart disease, cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative disorders. Think of this as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or ALS. Those are the big 3. Which is really, Alzheimer's is diabetes type 3. So, heart disease, cancer, diabetes. Yep, that's the 4 diseased medpocalypse horsemen who are coming for about 90% of this country. Not us though, right? Amen? Here's another thing I want you to see. So if those are the big 4, let's just take one of those things. Let's just take diabetes. In this case, one patient needs a minimum of 5 doctors. Most diabetic patients are going to have more than that, but I'm just going low-balling. I'm just estimating low. Here's an example just for one typical diabetic. You're going to have an ophthalmologist, you're going to have an endocrinologist, a cardiologist, a urologist, and a nephrologist, all the ologists. How efficient is that? It's not. It's very inefficient, and it's very expensive. Welcome to the American healthcare. But that's what everybody does. They're going to be on dialysis, they're going to be on diuretics, they're going to be on a plethora, they're going to be on 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 drugs. And that's just for the diabetes. Next. And this is continued. You got to have all these ologists, right? When people come here and we tell them, hey, if you do everything we tell you to do, we'll get rid of all your other doctors. They look at me like I'm on meth. And maybe I am, I don't know. But they look at me like, what are you talking about? I got to have my ologists. I have to have all my ologists. I say, no, you don't. So remember the Biblical Health Manifesto at the beginning? What if all the stuff that you were told was fake? What about it? So think of it this way. Why should your healthcare require a team of specialized experts? Are you that special? Your genetic stuff is so screwed up that you have to have a team. What do you think you are? You know, Trapper John, MD. You have to have a team on call. This is what they're making everybody think. Here's what's going to happen. Jonathan, you want another prophecy? Brother, here it is. This will eventually be managed by artificial intelligence. Medical superintelligence is rewriting medicine and outsmarting human doctors in diagnosis with 75% more accuracy and 4 times the cost savings. We hope you have your affairs in order. It's only a matter of time before your medical doctor is replaced for the increased profits of insurance companies because the AI can do it faster than the doctors can with better results. Based on what? They're going to train the AIs. What are the AIs going to be trained on? Medical textbooks which contain fake diseases. See where this goes? Just because they're AI doesn't mean they're only programmed with the stuff that the people put in there. So if they're programmed to look for all these autoimmune conditions, what are they going to find? Autoimmune conditions. Right. So these things, okay, your AI can read 1 million medical textbooks per second. Well, guess what? What if all the medical textbooks are wrong to begin with? You will never get out of this maze. You and your family, they will never get out of this. They will have you believing that everything is genetic, and all they need is a cheek swab. They don't even need that. They'll just put it on TV and people believe it. It's crazy. So you don't need medical specialists. You don't need multiples. You just need one person who helps you see through the nonsense. That's all you need. Maybe somebody who's been censored off of WeTube, maybe. I don't know. Next. To bring this back, speaking of specialists, remember this. I always want you to take a picture. This is one of the best quotes of all time. This is fabulous. You'll want to recall this so your friends and family members, when they say, I have this specialist for that, and I have that specialist for this, and I have a specialist for my nails, and I have a specialist for my hair, and I have a specialist for my fake lips, and I have a specialist for my breast implants. Remember, a specialist is someone who knows more and more about less and less until he knows everything about nothing. A specialist knows more and more. Work this out in your head. They study this disease. They specialize in not in your, your hormones or your heart or anything like that. They study the disease. So they know more and more about it, which means that if they just study this disease, they know less and less about everything else, right? Sense, logic. They're just studying this disease until they know everything about nothing. Isn't that great? Next. Unbelievable. Here's another myth. All you got to have is castor oil, baking soda, methylene blue, and cold plunges. So I'll just say this quickly. If you're not the leader of your patients, speaking to me, who is? Some 21-year-old dude on TikTok, right? Because that's what's happening. People coming in and asking me this crap all day long. 2 weeks ago, they didn't know what methylene blue was. EDTA, you name it. Chlorine dioxide, MMSO, DMSO, all this crap. They don't know anything. They don't know what the stuff is. They just saw it come up on their feed. Then they come and ask me, and I go, I don't know. What do you think about it? Well, I don't know what it is. Well, look at what it is. And then if you look at what it is, then everything I've taught you, you'll be able to figure out if you want it or not. Our philosophy, let's lead our patients now, or somebody else will. So if people come in and they haven't watched one of these in a long time, or if they just don't watch these at all, like if they don't want to learn about their healthcare, where else are they going to get this? Heidi, where else are they going to learn this? Nurse of 35 years. Where else are you going to learn this?
Not in a hospital.
Not in a hospital. Are you going to learn it at a specialist? Are you going to learn it at the chiropractor down the street? Are you going to learn it at the IV hydrotherapy clinic right down here? Are you going to learn it at one of the 12 walk-in clinic urgent care centers between here and a half mile away? What about the library? Are you going to learn it at the library? Here's one. Are you going to learn it from AI? No. Next. So here's another myth. You and your animals need more vaccines to be healthy. Here is an anecdote. Here's a real life story. My friend's dog was sick May of last year. My friend is a nurse who works in hospitals all over the United States. But he's trying to get out of it, so he calls me. Friend's dog was sick May of last year. The vet repeated tests until he finally received a positive result for parvo. Parvo, another fake virus. Recommending quarantine and antibiotics. They also use nausea injections, antidiarrheals, and IV fluids. The symptoms, he's telling me this, and I say, that's easily, your dog is poisoned. How'd your dog get poisoned? My friend's wife was upset. They hadn't initially gotten the parvo shot because they laid off on that one. So how did the vet dial in and say it was parvo? Huh, interesting, right? Maybe looking at the medical records, going, I wonder what we can hang this on, right? So his parents offered to pay for the 3-day vet bill, but as a condition, they wanted the dog to get the parvo shot. My friend says, no, right? So I repeatedly stated, I don't care. The dog did not have a virus. The dog was poisoned. I don't care what you say. I don't care what your wife says. I don't care what your parents say. And I specifically do not give a rip what the atheist in a white coat says, the vet. I told him, the dog is poisoned. Look around, figure out what the dog ate. Simple. You think I can do this with a dog 600 miles away? How much easier is it to do it with a human, a two-legged one, in front of me? The total bill, just for this, was $8,000. And people say they can't afford anything, right? Because they're getting ripped off and murdered by these people, right? So the total bill. 2 months later, what happens? He texts me this. He says, holy shit, you were right. So-and-so was poisoned. The previous tenants planted some sort of onion plant that's toxic to dogs, and the dog ate it, ate the leaves. He did it again this morning, and boom, the exact same symptoms. We thought it was happening all over again. 1 dose of GI Adsorb, it's a standard process supplement, and he's right as rain. And I said, no way. My question was, how'd you find out that that they planted onions because it was previous. He travels all around the country, does nursing. And I said, how'd you find out the previous people planted onions? They're very no bueno for canines, right? Now, then I told him, imagine what's really happening. Where does he work? I said, now imagine what's really happening in hospitals when people have all of these symptoms, right? This is a dog, not to minimize it, but this is a dog, ate an onion plant, and then freaks out and has seizures, can't walk, is puking, shaking, all the symptoms of what? Poisoning. But you're going to take him to a white coat atheist, and the atheist is going to tell you it's a virus. Then you're going to what? Then you're going to cripple, and you're going to bow down, and you're going to go, okay, well, give him the vaccine, which is what? More poison. See how this works? So he said back to me, we associated his rapid onset symptoms with him messing around in the garden box. I searched for what the plants were, found out it was the onion family, super toxic. Oh yeah, I've been getting deeper into terrain theory, and man, no wonder people are dying. It's not pathogens, it's not viruses, it's not bacteria, it's not wee beasties. It's the process bullshit, and you've said it 1,000 times. People are starving. Yeah, they're poisoned and they're malnourished. All we got to do to fix it is change it. Too simple, too easy. People want the ologists. Where was I? Yeah, man, I knew you'd figure it out. They're starving and they're poisoned. The humans and the animals. It's always the same. And I said, so much for the parvo nonsense, right? Because the vet was wrong. See? Is he going to admit he was wrong? No. Just like saying, oh, whoops, on the food log, the food pyramid for 50 years. He's not going to go back. He's not going to, think he's going to refund the $8,000? You should thank the vet for being an ignorant ass and maybe let your parents know. Next. And he says, for real, I don't care about anyone else's opinion anymore. I'm not even going to try to change the minds of people. This is him. This is not me. I haven't spent a single minute. I'm not going to try to change the minds of people who, one, haven't spent a minute studying anything health related, and two, support Western medicine with no comprehension of what it is and or minimal experience with it. This dude works in a hospital all day, every day, watches people die, watches them come in, get poisoned, and then they order their dinner and they're eating cereal and Pop-Tarts in the hospital. This is what he sees every day. How many people do we treat here who are medical professionals who see that? Probably 40, any time a year, 40 to 80% of our people are medical professionals. They come here. So while all your friends and family members are going to these white coat atheists to get poisoned, the nurses that work for them are coming here. Interesting, isn't it? So the biggest benefit was that his dog, or was not his dog, was seeing his wife, seeing it with her own two eyes and realizing you and I were correct. Now she knows we got scammed. Because the first thing somebody's going to do, his wife did, was think, I'm nuts. How could you know the dog got poisoned? I don't know, just from what you're telling me. I don't need to run a test. You're telling me he's puking. It's simple. Why are doctors, if the lights went off at the hospital, the doctors wouldn't get anything done, right? They can't run a test. They can't run an x-ray or a CAT scan or an MRI. They wouldn't be able to diagnose a dog being poisoned. That's the doctors people are going to. It's unbelievable. I said, hallelujah, you are validated, my friend. It feels good. And people are running back to the same white-coated Satanists who tried to kill them 5 years ago. They forget about the Red Sea and they go right back to the golden calf. Unbelievable. Next. Another myth. You like our little trip into vet land? Isn't that neat? Don't even need to be a vet, do you? You know what your vets are doing? They're poisoning your dogs with drugs and vaccines, and then they're giving you crap food. So why do the dogs have anxiety and diabetes? Have you thought about this? The dogs are on psych meds. The dogs have diabetes and cancer, right? The most vaccinated mammals in the world are dogs. The highest rates of cancer are in what? Dogs. Myth, modern medicine is helping people live longer. Interesting. That's a myth. Fact, here's a patient's friend and I. We had a wonderful conversation. She's A, I'm B for Brett. She said, I don't want to take so many drugs. She was sitting on the couch. I said, oh, who are you? I know so-and-so. Okay, great. What are you doing here? Well, she wants me to come here. I said, well, that's a pretty good idea. Tell me what's going on. She said, I don't want to take so many drugs. I said, well, how many poisons are you on? 5 or 6. Are you getting any better? No. Next. How long have you been on them? 30 years. Take them every day? Yep. You've deteriorated for 30 years. Yep. You do know the drugs are killing you, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. You do know that your doctors are killing you, right? Oh, yeah. And murder care hates you. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course. And the government wants you dead. Oh, yeah. But you're still taking the poisons? Well, I guess. And I said, from a system that's killing you and you know it? And she said, yes, sir, I am. Well, how can I help you? She said, well, I don't reckon you can. I said, you're right. I can't. Neither can Jesus, neither can the Holy Spirit, and neither can the Lord himself, right? Why? Because military-grade mind control is a very powerful drug. It is on your television. It is on your phone. It is in the AI. It is programming people to not think. How do you break through to people who are indoctrinated, medicated, vaccinated, fluoridated? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes they want it. Sometimes if you get them off their CPAP and their psych meds, their sisters are going to hate you because they're still on their CPAPs and their psych meds. And they don't want their sister coming off the CPAPs and the psych meds. Next. We're almost done. Everyone needs more medications. Question. Here we go. Here's one thing that you need to remember. Why are we doing this? So that you can answer questions for all of the people who come against you. And you can point out the hypocrisy and the stupidity and the ineffectiveness, the inefficacy of modern medicine. Here's a question. How many meds would be acceptable for your surgeon? How many do you think your surgeon takes? How about your bus driver? How many meds do you want your bus driver to be on when you're on a tour? How about your babysitter? How many drugs is it acceptable? How many? 4? 12? What's the number that's too much for your babysitter to be on when you're out of town and they're taking care of your kids? Nobody thinks about it, do they? Nobody? I know. Yeah, nobody thinks about it. How about this? Here's another question. Whenever somebody makes a bad decision or shoots up a school, as we just had, what's the tranny dude that, where was that recently? The most recent? Canada. It was Canada. Yes. Canada. Yeah, Canada. Whenever somebody makes a bad decision or shoots up a school, investigators get on the scene. One of the first things they ask, what's their medical history? Meaning, how many drugs are they on? Why? When somebody comes to the hospital, what is one of the first questions they ask? What drugs are you on? When a cop arrests somebody? So how difficult is it for people to see this? It's difficult when they're indoctrinated, medicated, vaccinated, fluoridated, because this right here tells you everybody knows it's a problem. Right? Next. Fact, annual divine design natural health care for one person. Remember, this is the natural health is too expensive. Just for one person, including your 12 visits of nutrition, 12 visits of chiropractic, it's about $1,320. We're not counting food that they eat, supplements. It's all different for everybody, so we don't include that. Natural health too expensive? Not quite, because here's what I mean. I watch massive RVs, all kinds of stuff, jacked up trucks, fancy low-riding rice burner race cars pull into Walmart. I watch all this stuff just go to these places. You pull into the gas stations, and it's just this 12-foot tall truck with wheels up to here. They have no problem spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these cars. I've got people who put a 1,000 square foot to 5,000 square foot addition on their house. People that have helicopters. People that drive 4 Teslas at a time. It's like these people. But when it comes to natural health, what happens? It's too expensive. But I watch all this stuff happen in Walmart. Why? In Walmart. I notice this. I drive past Walmarts. I look at all the fancy cars. Why would there be fancy cars in Walmart? That's their priority. They're buying their food at Walmart. They're likely buying food at Walmart because they spent their money on transportation, for God's sake. It's crazy. You watch these $250,000 motorhomes pull into Walmart. It's like unbelievable. Can't they at least go to Publix? Next. Oh, yeah. Come on up, Heidi. Yay. We're almost done. Wow. Hold on. Back that up. Give Heidi a round of applause here. There we go. Thank you.
All right. So this patient, she said, So I recently got to see the incredible effects of my supplements in real time. As a breastfeeding mom, I have seen firsthand that what you eat directly impacts your baby.
No.
My sweet girl was recently dealing with terrible digestive issues that were waking her up all night long. Since we had not changed anything about our healthy, whole food diet, we could not figure out what was going on. As I filled my supplements for the week, I felt like I needed to double check that I had all of the supplements I was supposed to be on. It turns out I was missing Zypan. I assume I accidentally threw away the empty container after filling supplements the previous week and forgot to get a refill. I took my supplements, Zypan included, that evening and noticed improvement in my daughter's digestive issues and sleep. This continued to improve multiple days in a row. After a few nights later, I woke to my daughter fussing and crying from gas pain. Confused, I started trying to figure out what I had done differently. It turns out I had accidentally forgotten to take my supplements with dinner. I took my night dose and continued to nurse my daughter through the night. By morning, her issues had decreased enough that she was able to nap like normal throughout the day. If you've ever questioned whether taking your supplements, all of your supplements, consistently really makes a difference, here's your proof.
I wish everybody heard that one. I hope everybody hears that one. If your body is asking for something and it's on your list and you don't take it, don't expect your stuff to get better. Your body's asking for it, not me. I didn't build your program, your body did. God, everybody needs to hear that one. That's crazy. Next. Clown World creates meme lords. Meme lords create dank memes. Dank memes attract normies, and normies create Clown World. Okay, yeah, a lot of people don't get that one. That's great. That's great. Conspiracy theorists who warned you of vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, perpetual lockdowns, rampant inflation, all that crazy stuff we've preached here for 12 years, are now warning you about digital ID, social credit scores, central bank digital currencies, climate lockdowns, and energy rationing. Look at that. If you do not know Bitcoin, if you do not know how to use Bitcoin, if you think that it's the government can shut it down or the EMPs will shut it off, you need to go buy gold and silver. If you think all the other stuff, somebody's going to crack it, quantum computing, somebody's going to, the government has a backdoor, CIA, Satoshi Nakamoto. If you think that Jeffrey Epstein controlled Bitcoin, you have been mind controlled by the media. You need to understand it. It's the only way out of some of this stuff. It really is. And we have onboardings and we have classes and we have stuff that we can help you. We're not doing it to make money. We're doing it to get you free because they're going to take your bank account. They're going to shut down your retirements. It's going to happen. Amazing. We've become a culture that considers Twinkies and Cocoa Puffs and Mountain Dew safe, but raw milk, totally dangerous. Joel Salatin, he's a famous polyface farmer. Next. We're going to need a bigger mental institution. Oh, how many remember that movie? Okay. Next. Just in, Trump announces drugs will be free. Look at that. Captain Warp Speed scores again. White House announces it's launching its own drugstore, Trump RX, where U.S. citizens can buy drugs straight from who? Oh, no. Your good friends at the government. Captain Warp Speed, he loves us. Unbelievable. And people will fall over themselves to get their diabetes medications 50 cents cheaper. It's unbelievable. My politics before, don't tread on me. My politics now, cast Satan into hell. We live in a world that's made up of fake people, fake food, fake medicine, fake weather, fake news, fake history. Remember we've been talking about chemtrails for, a decade? Now people are finally figuring it out. Fake news, fake history, fake pandemics. This didn't exist. That is fake. That virus thing right there that was everywhere on every magazine, every show, that right there is fake. It doesn't exist. Never existed. Never happened. It's fake. That has never been found in a laboratory and in all across the world. That structure right there is an artist's representation. It's a cartoon. That's what that is. Fake revolutions, fake spirituality, and we wonder why people hate the truth. Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? Next. So we're bringing this in for a landing very soon. Oh, but here we are. The only thing I fear more than the government shutting down is the government staying open. Remember back 5 months ago when we were supposed to do this, the government was shutting down. Whatever happened? Nothing. I hope it shuts down permanently. Next. We live in a world where it's easier to convince people to give up half their income, send their kids to die in wars, and surrender their freedom than to convince them it's possible for society to function without a government. Could you tell where my head was 5 months ago on all the anti-government stuff? Isn't that great? Hey, are you seriously going to question every single narrative on the news? Yes. Okay, we're bringing it in for a landing. Myth, doctor means one who prescribes. Doctors love us. They want us to be educated in all things health and wellness and longevity. Fact, doctor actually means teacher. It comes from the Latin, which is also in the Spanish, docere, meaning to teach. D-O-C-E-R-E. But don't expect your endocrinologist to hold free diabetes workshops at his office on a Monday night at 6 o'clock. Patients who watch our WellWorks events don't drop out and go back to medicine. A few, very few, make excuses that they don't have time. I know, you're busy, you got grandkids, you have a job, whatever. Hey, you can listen in the shower, you can listen while you're mowing the yard, you can listen while you're beating your wife, you can listen while you're kicking your dog. You can listen. There's time. Good patients, watch them without being promoted. They will come in, they will get on the table, they will say, I watched CSI last week, or I watched New Age for Old Devils 3 weeks ago. Let's talk about it. I'll go, great. What kind of questions you got? Well, yeah, you were talking about this and this and this. Hey, I got a friend. Man, he needs to get here. Okay, great. Good patients, watch them without being prompted. Phenomenal patients, they're going to watch them, they're going to take notes, and they're going to bring questions, and they're going to say, what other stuff can I read about this? Where else do I need to? Phenomenal patients are going to make their kids do the wellness workshops, the Divine Design Academy for homeschool, right? Because all of the nurses and the PAs and the pharmacists and the people who come in here, you know what they're doing? They're at home watching this stuff. It's only the people who think they know everything that I have to beat it into their head and go, you know what, that's a good question. I'm not going to answer it. What? What do you mean? I already did a whole class on it. You're going to go home and you're going to watch it. And then all your questions are going to be answered because I can't answer this question 50 times a day. Every time. That's why we do these classes. We do it to spread it and let people know, because I can't have this conversation with 150 people all the time. Myth, if you've seen one natural health practitioner, you've seen them all. That is a myth. I've heard it many times. Fact, here's just a trip that I did in 2024. There were about 100 other people there, 100 other doctors. Here goes. One guy recently had a hip replacement. One guy was a very large practice. He still eats fast food, doesn't train his people, doesn't train his patients or his staff how to eat. It's a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. One office uses Oura rings to measure biomarkers. You wear a little ring, and it senses your temperature and your heart rate, your blood pressure, and all this stuff. Oura rings, O-U-R-A. They're everywhere. To measure biomarkers, Bluetooth sleep apnea devices to measure sleep patterns, glucose meters, injectable peptides, all kinds of stuff. We're all natural health people, but we all have very different philosophies. I bet you that none of them have a biblical health manifesto. I bet some of these guys are just thinking income stream, income stream, income stream, income stream. That's what they're thinking. Fact, here's a 2021 dinner with 12 other doctors. Every doctor around the table admitted to a 60 to 90% rate of lethal injections for the COVID hoax for their patient population. We here at Divine Design, we had a grand total of one person that took that shot, and I was pissed about that. But my buddies, 60 to 90%, every single one of their practices. Unbelievable. Our rep, later on, after that, she was sitting there at the table, and she was here at the office one day, and she said, you know, I saw you melting down, you know, inside. And she said she knew the reason that we only had one person that took that kill shot. Oh, and by the way, she died. She's dead. She died 6 months ago. She was not here. She was no longer a patient. She quit years ago because the indoctrination, medication, vaccination, fluoridation got into her head. She left, so she's dead. But our rep later told us after this meeting that we had dinner, she knew the reason why we only had one patient. She said, our dedication to educating our patients like no other office she's ever seen. That's why. We do this to save lives. We're saving lives ahead of time. We mean it. Thank you. Golf clap. Here's what can I say? Here's a group on Facebook. I came out of retirement months ago to bring down, spit some thunder on the angry pharmacist thing. Months ago, I came out of Facebook retirement just for a brief little carpet bomb, blow in, drop a bomb, blow out. I did the same thing here. because I could not believe what I was hearing. I could not believe what I was hearing. This was a standard process natural health practitioners group. Somebody posted this. What are y'all's opinions on the new rage of peptides like BPC 157 or epithalin? I've heard many functional med doctors raving about these and am unsure. So I went in, read some of the comments, and I just saw everybody was, oh, I love these things. They're great. Good revenue stream. Oh, yeah, patients love them. Blah, da, 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 da. I went in, I couldn't help myself. I came out of retirement. This is a standard process group of natural health practitioners. I went in, carpet bombed, and said nothing natural comes from a needle. You're buying peptides from a pharma company. Please remember what happened 5 years ago. I agree with Lowell Keppel, this guy here. This topic doesn't belong in a Royal Lee standard process group in any way at all. You guys suck. Who are you? Why are you in this group? And if I spent any time in that group, I would have been a lot more angry but I don't ever touch it. I don't ever go in it. I just wanted to carpet bomb these people because every single one of them was talking positively about BPC 157 and peptides harvested from, where did the peptides come from? Animals, plants, bacteria, other humans. All the peptides. Remember, I did a whole class on it called Snake in the Vein. Lowell Keppel said, and what does this have to do with SP, synthetic peptides? Synthetic peptides, they're all synthetic. Who's designing the peptides? Artificial intelligence is designing the peptides. Computers, a demon in a machine is designing the peptides that are now being pumped into millions of Americans. Unbelievable. People don't talk about it. Why? They don't want to piss anybody off. It's crazy. Something the body should make? Is this really where this conversation should take place? How does this align with Dr. Lee, Royal Lee, right? Why are we talking about this in a standard process group? Yeah, I'm pissed. These people, I call these people colleagues. Well, I don't. They do. I don't. But this is what, when you go to a natural health place, this is what you're going to run into. These people, this is what you're going to run into. It's crazy. Next. So I had to come out of retirement, and then I immediately went back into retirement. Myth. Medicine is exceptional at diagnosis and prevention. Garbage. Fact, in the medical world, here we are. Disease is an entity, something that needs to be preemptively vaccinated, chemically neutralized, surgically removed, or otherwise treated. The natural health paradigm does not recognize disease this way. Rather, it realizes that any disease state is simply a condition or a condition of lack, or an absence of force resulting in decreased function, right? And sometimes that can be caused by too many poisons. Isn't that great? Medicine sucks at diagnosis and prevention. Myth. Only go to a chiropractor if you have pain. You're going to love this. You could talk to your friends and family about this one. Top 6 health concerns of our patients over the past 12 years. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sleep, weight, fatigue, mood, digestion, hormones. That's what everybody comes here for. Everybody. Nobody comes here for back pain or neck pain or headache. No one. All those right there, those are the top 6. I could give you the top 30, but those are the top 6. Next. Fact, pain is rarely the problem. Hardly ever is the pain the problem. I'm a chiropractor, physician in natural health. There is no musculoskeletal or pain complaints on that list. The only one that could be, maybe involve pain, is number 5, yet a lot of gastrointestinal problems do not include pain. So in the medical primary care setting, fatigue alone, go back to the last slide, Jonathan, just click back real quick. Fatigue alone, our number 3 right here. Okay, forward. Fatigue alone makes up 20% of all patient contacts in the medical primary care setting. That means you go to your family practice, 20% of all patient contacts complain of fatigue. That's over 18 million visits per year, just for fatigue, just for people feeling tired, right? Furthermore, 75 to 90% of primary care visits have been reported as stress-related, whatever that means, right? How many stresses are there? How many stresses are there?
3.
What are they? 3. Chemical? Emotional, and what else? Structural or physical, right? Structural, chemical, emotional. But the doctor is always going to say it's emotional stress, right? Or right? 100%. Only go to a chiropractor if you have pain? Incorrect. all your friends and family members are going to be thinking that. Next. Oh, you're going to love this. We're almost done. I put this one at the very end just so you drive home with just blood in your face. You're going to love this. Medical advances have resulted in longer life. Insurance pays for life extension. Incorrect. Here's a fact. Some of the transgender services that United Healthcare Insurance covers: bilateral mastectomy or breast reduction, breast augmentation with breast implants or fat transfer, building a clitoris, removing a uterus, creating labia, lasering and electrolysing all of the hair around for genital reconstruction, metoidoplasty, that's where they create a penis or a clitoris, orchiectomy, that's where they remove the testicles, castrating the young man. You're removing the penis, you're putting a penile prosthesis, you're creating a penis from phalloplasty, salpingo-oophorectomy. You and I would say she just got her fallopian tubes and ovaries ripped out. That's what that is. You can build a scrotum, testicular prosthetics, or thyroid cartilage, where the dude has an Adam's apple and they shave the Adam's apple. That's your insurance. Interesting, huh? So in case you just thought, just go back to the last one. Just in case you thought that transgenderism was just a social movement, I want you to understand it's a revenue stream. Multiple revenue streams. Okay? And that's what they're doing. United Healthcare. And who's doing all of this? Your medical doctors, your gender reassignment clinics. They're all medical doctors. Who's working in the clinics? Nurses. What kind? Satanic witches. Next. Fact, the study of genes to treat disease. Oh, wait, I missed the myth. Genetic research is uncovering the root cause. Bullpucky. It doesn't exist. There is no root cause genetics. Listen, right here, the study of genes to treat disease is aimed largely at raising money for research. Despite, I want you to hear this, when all of your friends and family members tell you that their disease is genetic, I want you to understand. I want you to say this. Despite a fabricated genetic cause for many diseases, there is no, repeat after me, there is no genetic cure for any disease. Say it.
There is no genetic cure for any disease.
Say it again.
There are no genetic cures for any disease.
Say it again.
There's no genetic cures for any disease.
Isn't that interesting? They're doing research every day for genetics to find the genetic cause of disease, yet they haven't found any genetic cure for a disease. When do you think they're going to? Never. They're not even looking. What are they doing all the genetics for? To create human Nephilim hybrids. That's what they're doing the genetics for. Clones without a soul. That's what they're doing the genetics for. But people think all I got to do is scrape the inside of my cheek and send it to China, and they'll send me my magically created mRNA vaccine for cancer. DNA analysis through genetic testing. Let that sink in, though. I want you to write that down, man. Carve it on your forehead. There is no genetic cure for any disease. Never will be, never has been. In all of human history, just that sentence alone is something, you're never going to hear that on YouTube. You'll never read that. You'll never see that. There is no genetic cure. None of your medical textbooks, none of your medical schools, there is no genetic cure for any disease. Nobody knows that. Nobody's ever heard that. But find one. Let me know if you find one. Find a genetic cure where they go in and tweak a gene and they erase a disease. Find one. We've been doing this for 150 years. They don't even have one. The gay gene, remember the gay gene? Yeah, that was fake. Remember that? I was born this way? No, you were not. DNA analysis through genetic testing is advertised as better medical care, but this will only lead to more government surveillance from cradle to grave. People will be told that their disease can be caught earlier for more efficient treatment. More nonsense disease labels will spring up in the coming years, and the answer will surely be a wonder drug or another mRNA vaccine. They are going to push this out. We're detecting it early. We're finding it ahead of time, blah, blah, blah. We can offshoot, we can offset, the cancer that's in your family genetically. We can find it ahead of time. All you got to do is hop in the med bed. All you got to do is get your hand stamped or your forehead on and in. All you have to do is bow down. You'll live forever. You can be like God. I mean, it's just so obvious. It's so obvious. But this right here blows it all away. That one sentence. There is no genetic cure for any disease. And if we haven't found it yet, do you think we'll find it in 5 years? How about the cure for, how about the war on cancer? How did that work? Remember Nixon, our good friend that took us off the gold standard in 1971? Remember that? Yeah, that guy, the one who got caught with Watergate and all that, which was a just fraction of where we are with the stupidity that's going on with the white coat atheists in the government and the hospitals and all this stuff. But remember Nixon? Remember the Watergate thing? Remember that guy? Crooked. I'm not a crook. Crooked as a dog's hind leg. That guy? The war on cancer? That was going on 50 years ago. Do we have a cure? Are we ever going to have a cure? That's what I thought. Next. Almost done. Medical advances are helping to accurately determine the origins. Ha! Fact. The World Hoax Organization categorizes 20,000 diseases. That's a small number, okay? I want you to get this, though. I want you to be able to explain this to your friends and family when they're dying. The World Health Organization categorizes 20,000 diseases and disorders. With those numbers, it's a miracle that anyone is alive. They also estimate that 50 to 70% of those 20,000 have an unknown cause. Completely unknown cause. In other words, doctors are baffled, while researchers and medical school professors and journal editors go along with it. If they don't have a specific cause, how could one differentiate a specific disease? Think about it logically, right? You would really only have a set of symptoms clustered together by medical agreement and then labeled for insurance companies. The cluster of symptoms then becomes a new disease. You rinse and repeat it forever. That's where you get 20,000 diseases. There's no such thing. No such thing. You have 20,000 groups of symptoms. And they're all related with each other because everyone is poisoned and everyone is malnourished. You'll never find all the diseases that these people would find. Next. The government wants what is best for you. I think you can tell by my anti-government sentiment in this presentation that is malarkey. But a patient's husband works at the health department. He told her the health department competes for bragging rights to see which county gives the most vaccines in the shortest amount of time. They do this mostly for flu shots, but remember, it's all about your health. Yeah, that's all I want to say about that. If you're not feeling any pain, we'll just wait. You're as healthy as a horse. Pain's the last thing to show up, first thing to leave. Most diseases don't even initially cause pain and only do so in late stages. Isn't that great? So people are just sitting around waiting to fall apart. They don't have any pain. Well, I could name a disease that doesn't have pain. Insomnia, depression, anxiety, diabetes, heart disease. I could go on. I mean, there are millions of them. Most diseases don't cause pain. If you're not feeling any pain, we'll just wait. You're as healthy as a horse. Prospective male patient. I never go to doctors. I don't want meds. That's very heroic of you, sir, but you will and you will. You're slowly falling apart, but you don't know it. You're only one scare away from ending up in a place where you have no choice. And there, your opinion will be of no consequence. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm talking to the guy saying, that's great. You say you don't, and you don't, but you will, and you will. Because when you go face down in front of your Kubota on a Sunday and your wife has to haul your ass in on an ambulance, here's what's going to happen. Your opinion will be of no consequence. One stent, and you will be on 4 meds in one day, and then scared to come off of them for the next 30 years because they're going to get inside your head and they're going to tell you your head will fall off if you don't poison yourself. That's what happens. For men, maintenance just means lawnmowers, Mustangs, and motorcycles. Maintenance surely cannot have anything to do with their bodies. That's why we're putting a men moratorium on this office. We're not accepting men patients anymore. The ones who got grandfathered in, we'll keep them until they croak or whatever, or go face down. But new ones, I don't think we're going to be accepting new men patients. Because of this. I'd rather have the women who are in charge of the kids and the cooking and the food and the breastfeeding and the babies and the stuff. They know how to take care of people. You know, it's easier. Next. Viruses exist and cause disease. It's going to ruffle your feathers. Hope you're ready. Fact, let's say you're sick, but I want you to think about this. Every time your friend or family member says, oh, I got a stomach bug, or Charlie at the office crossed over the cubicle and gave me a virus, remember this. Take pictures of these. Fact, let's say you're a farmer, let's say you're a football player, let's say you're a starving child in Africa, or let's say you're an elderly person renting a furnished suite in a nursing home, okay? In every one of these cases, doctors are going to diagnose you with diseases and prescribe toxic drugs to treat the fake viruses that are causing these diseases. Now, I know we've all been brainwashed to think viruses. What about measles? What about mumps? What about this and that? Why are all the vaccines for viruses? Think about it. What about chickenpox? People are going to say, what about herpes? What about Hep A, B, C, D, E, F, G? What about AIDS? What about this? Fake, 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 fake. Viruses, no. Poison, yes. But here, I'll explain. Watch. Let me read this again. You got a farmer, let's just examples. Football player, starving child, elderly person. Let's just get this in your mind, okay? All of these cases, they're going to diagnose you with stuff that they say is a virus. They say the virus is causing the disease. Watch. Next slide. Behind all of this, the farmer was crippled by years of pesticide application on genetically modified organism crops. The football player had his head kicked in and was mentally scrambled by a series of violent collisions. See where I'm going with this? The starving child was gripped with serious nutritional deficiencies and deficits by a lack of food. And the elderly nursing home resident was squashed by years of toxic medical poisons and vaccines. Poison, structural problem, right? Trauma, lack of nutrition, poison, right? So poison, so remember, too many poisons, not enough nutrition, right here. This right here, that's the farmer. Football player, he got wrecked. He just got wrecked, just got his head beat in. Starving child, lack of nutrition. Elderly nursing home resident, medical, drugs, and vaccines, probably both, because they're feeding her Jell-O and applesauce, and they're feeding her lisinopril and Ozempic. Right? Next. But doctors are never going to discuss those facts. You have to understand this, your friends and family members. How do they prescribe a drug that's going to treat the farmer, the football player, the starving African child, and the elderly nursing home resident? How are they going to prescribe a drug that's going to fix pesticide poisoning? All your Parkinson's and your Alzheimer's and stuff, that's what we're talking about. Right there. How are they going to prescribe a drug that's going to bring your brain back after you've had concussion after concussion after concussion? How are they going to give you a drug that's going to fix a lack of food, nutritional deficiencies, right? How are they going to give you a drug that's going to fix all the years of drugs and vaccines? Think about how stupid this is. However, there are no drugs for the actual causes of these illnesses. If doctors ignore the true causes, they can then label the symptoms and blame them on viruses that don't actually exist, and it will continue forever. Does that make sense? It will never stop. And then when then they'll drop the virus, like the bird flu and the cow farting virus and all this stuff, and then they'll come at you with a vaccine for the virus that doesn't exist. Come on up, Heidi. One last thing I want you to see. This will blow your mind, and then we're done.
A few months ago, I began to have a mild sore throat. Within a few days, it turned into a severely swollen tonsil covered in tonsil stones. I couldn't swallow anything without the pain bringing tears to my eyes, and I was hardly sleeping. Dr. Brett recommended a few extra supplements and poked and scraped my tonsil until the stones were falling off and disgusting fluid started to pour out and drain from my tonsil. Truly an awful experience. But after that, I finally began to improve. Of course, I could have gone to the emergency room, as I'm sure someone else in my situation would have done. But weighing the pros and cons led to an easy decision. I would rather not be on antibiotics, have my tonsils removed, and be in debt for a few decades. And considering Divine Design is my place of employment, being treated here is economical and much preferred. Now I feel completely healed. Thank you, Nadia and Dr. Brett, for praying with me and walking through that trial with me.
Awesome. That's great. Who was that one? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so Heidi went through a little thing a little while ago, and it was horrible. I've been through something very similar. It was painful. She could barely talk, barely breathe, barely swallow, barely eat, any of that. Her options, go to the ER, have your stuff poked and prodded. They're gonna take your blood. They're gonna do a CAT scan. It's gonna put you in debt. Or we can just bear with it, go through everything that I did when I had it, and we'll just tear this thing up. It might take a day or two. You want to do that, or you want to go the other route? She decided to do this. So, yes, yeah. So working here has its advantages. If you are 35 or older, you've had less vaccine doses than a 6-month-old baby. Wonder why all the kids are retarded? No idea. Next. It appears to be a planet of satanic elite pedophiles keeping the citizens in a constant state of fear by hyping up seasonal flu. See why we just talked about the virus scam? It's all a scam. Murder everyone who disagrees with us. Bake the cake, you bigot. Remember was it Colorado? Where the Christian couple had to bake the gay cake. Yeah, that's how it all started. Remember that? Yes, Neil, they're the same. Big Pharma, Big Vitamin. All the crap at Costco and Rite Aid and CVS and Walmart. Yeah, all that stuff that where your friends and family are taking Centrum, made by Pfizer, or One-A-Day, made by Bayer, right? They're taking synthetic megadose nutraceuticals made by German pharmaceutical companies that killed people. Think about that. Brought over from, yeah, exactly. I really hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not just Tylenol and vaccines. Remember when we did this? Remember everybody was taking bottles of Tylenol to prove that it wasn't causing autism? Remember? That's the retardation level, right? It's also the aluminum in the cookware, the glyphosate in the food, the fluoride in the toothpaste, the chlorine in your tap water, the forever chemicals in your clothing, the radiation on your phone, the blocked detox pathways. People haven't pooped in 20 years. They haven't sweated since the 80s, right? It's the processed foods, the lack of sunshine and exercise. It's the excess amount of screen time. It just goes on and on. But it has to be the raw milk. Remember that. It has to be. This is Walgreens. Accidentally nails it. Get your flu shot and vaccinations today. A skeleton. They're telling you right there. It's right in front of your face. Walgreens Vaccine Clinic. It's free. It's a free flu shot. COVID-19 shots now available. Sign me up. Sign me up. Isn't that great? Why don't you trust the government? Not one word on that page. Everything is redacted. Isn't that nuts? Yeah, do that with your tax returns. Next. Concerned parents. Meticulously sifting through their children's Halloween candy to make sure they don't get poisoned by psychopaths. Pfizer? What happens when you fall for these myths? This is the last thing. I want you to see this. What happens when you fall for this? All of the crap that we just talked about, your parents, your friends, your family members, your nieces, your nephews, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your brothers and sisters are all falling for this. Here's a 42-year-old. There's no name on this or anything. One of my medical people sent this to me. I figured we'd throw it in here. What does that word mean? What does that mean? That means a 42-year-old is having his organs removed, harvested. They don't call them harvesting organs. The proper term is procurement. He's 42. What would possibly be happening where he would be donating his organs? He's dead at 42. Next. So if you fall for the scam, here is someone else. Well, zoom out real quick just so you can get a big picture of this, Jonathan. Yeah, so that's part of their drugs. And go to the next one. That's the rest of their drugs. So go back to the first one. That's the list of drugs. This is a 66-year-old adult human male. Remember the males? Remember the dudes I told you about? Remember? I said it's impossible. Dudes, very, very, very seldomly will we get good guy patients. Very seldomly. This is how they end up. 66 years old, he's on 30 medications between this and the next page. That's his meds. You want to see something even crazier? Next page is his diagnoses. These are all the conditions he has. And remember what we talked about before? When you get a diagnosis with an ICD-9 or 10 code and a CPT code, that code goes with you forever. That will be on your right hand or your forehead with your medical history that no one can interpret other than AI, because no doctor in the world could read through all the shit he's on. No doctor in the world could remember or know. It has to be run by AI. Do you get it? It has to be. The drugs these people are on, it has to be run by AI. We have to give it over to an artificial superintelligence. No human can do it. Just knowing the side effects alone. How's he not dead? I don't know. But these are his diagnoses. Gastroparesis. What does that mean? His stomach's paralyzed. He can't eat. Anemia. Remember the anemia thing I told you about? One blood test and you've got anemia for the rest of your life. Constipation. He can't poop. Remember drainage pathways plugged up, the last meme that we had? Edematous and serrated colon polyps. How did he get colon polyps? Somebody putting a camera up his butt. That's how he got colon polyps. Fecal abnormalities. I don't even know what the hell that is. His poop's not normal. What? Prostate cancer, pneumonia, pulmonary embolism. That'll kill you by itself. Anxiety, arthritis, asthma, atrial fib, go down. How many people do you know that have atrial fib? Coronary artery disease, chronic back pain. God, I wonder why. He's on 50 medications. Current use of long-term anticoagulation. That's a disease, a condition, but it's an anticoagulant. So he's got a condition of taking the drug that he's on. Do you see what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. GERD, ED, erectile dysfunction. Well, no shit. I bet he's got ED. Unbelievable. Incontinence. He can't stop pissing himself. He can't sleep. Irritable bowel. Knee pain. Look at this. Neck neuropathy. His feet are numb. Nocturia. He's pissing at night. Palpitations. Phimosis. Prostate cancer. PTSD. Repeated falls. Sleep apnea. Spermatocele. Unbelievable. This one guy. I don't know how he's not in a casket. Here's something even better. Those are his diagnoses. You ready? Are you ready? This is his surgical history. Look at this. This is one human, one American human. Had a camera down his throat, had a camera up his butt. How many times I tell you? Had an EKG, laparotomy, robotic laparoscopy, hemiorrhaphy, inguinal unilateral. He had a hernia fixed. Removal, gups. This guy even had his gups removed. I don't even know what that is. Scrotal exploration. What are you talking about? I've never heard of it. I didn't even know this was on here. That's the first time I've laid eyes on that. Scrotal exploration. Botox. Botox for the headaches and the neck pain. They do that for headaches. Spermatocelectomy, upper endoscopy, colonoscopy. Once again, camera down his throat, camera up his butt. Upper endoscopy, cardiovascular stress test, EKG, implant. I don't even know what that is. Can you believe this? These are just circumcision. The guy didn't even get circumcised until 10 years ago. How is this possible? He's 66. This is a catastrophe. This is an absolute walking dumpster fire. And this is your dad, this is your uncle, this is your grandpa, this is your brother. This is what's happening. This from a nurse practitioner in a hospital not far from here sent me this, and I had to share it because I can't even believe it. It's nuts. So when people say medicine is doing its job, population reduction, it is doing its job. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And on that note, it is 7:38. I am done. Any questions? Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your dads, tell your grandpas. If they continue in the course of medical debauchery, that is the Satanists and the pedophiles running this government and running these hospitals, if they continue going that route, they will be a statistic and they might as well hop in a casket because that's what's going to happen. In a few years, when your family practice doctors and your radiologists and your pharmacists, they're already getting replaced by AI. Who's going to send you your drugs? Amazon Pharmacy. It's going to be part of your Amazon Prime membership. It already is. It's already happening. $10 a month, you can get all the drugs you want. That's what's happening. Your friends and your families need to know there's a new sheriff in town. Going once, going twice. Anything else? Questions? Okay, March 23rd is the next time we do this. It's the first time back after 5 months. Could you tell I was fired up?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. It's 5 months. I just hear, the stuff I hear every day is shocking. And why is nobody talking about this? Why is nobody mentioning this? Now you know. Right there at the beginning, now you know. Okay, signing off. We'll see you on March 23rd. We'll see you in a month. Dr. Brett Spradlin signing off. Divine Design Natural Health.